Welcome to the Barber Game Podcast. I go by the name of DJ Meek Chops.
Hey, people, this is Mess.
What it do? This is Marcus.
What's good, everybody? This your boy Merv Mill on the check-in, and this is the
Barber Game Podcast.
Yeah. What's good? We made some changes today. We got my man Wood on the show. You know what I'm saying? Usually behind on the switches over there. He's sitting in today for Marcus, man. What up, Wood?
What's up, family?
Welcome.
How's it feel to be back on the camera again?
It's new, but it's good though.
It's on the other side.
Yeah, from the host side.
Yeah.
there.
It's good.
It's a good feeling?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get right into it. This week, I got a real special guest. My man's a 5-star barber. I work side by side with my man's at least like 4 to 5 days a week. I probably know, like I said, more little details about my man's than some of my extended family. You know what I'm saying? Because we spend that much time just side by side. You know how to press each other's buttons. You know what irritates each other and all of that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just different.
You can see what's coming before it comes. Yeah.
Without a doubt. So he's been cutting here for some years. He got 3 years. He's bounced around a little bit within the organization. And he's back with us, and he's made a home with us here at South Center location. So without further ado, got my man MELLOW, a.k.a. DJ, a.k.a. David.
It's good, y'all.
Welcome to the show, man. And I'm just happy that you're on here because this is usually like an area that we really be chilling in.
Yeah.
Right? And then now you actually on the show. I think it's a dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like I'm on break right now.
Yeah.
Oh, so you guys do abuse the space.
Abuse it. Dang. Why you gotta take it away? Why you, man. You ain't gotta make it that day.
Everybody need a break room.
You know what I mean?
Okay. You don't need one. Your car is a break room.
Oh my God. It's one of man.
Shots.
Damn.
So not
I mean,
everybody-
I guess not everyone
got
has a car.
$90,000 living room on wheels.
Listen.
All right?
It's cold.
But everyone has a car.
Yeah.
Like I
Right?
said, not everybody got a
Who
$90,000
cares?
living
man?
room on
Go
wheels.
elsewhere. Go elsewhere. Go elsewhere.
Dang.
Yeah, she
Have you seen her car? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I seen
can't
it.
It's
Can we
ridiculous.
stop?
No, we gonna start a Patreon begging Mess for money here in a minute. She got that bag.
No, I
But
don't.
yeah, let's get into it, Mello. What's that Marvel backstory looking like? What's your anime character's backstory?
Are you
know you
into
like-
anime?
Yeah,
Oh.
heavily. Yeah.
Heavily? Okay.
Ever since I was like a teenager, I was in anime. It was more of a family thing at first, but it became
The
more
thing.
bigger than that. But nah, I'm originally South Carolina, Charleston, born in Beaufort.
That's what's up.
No, I came out here back in like 2008, I think.
Okay.
My parents brought me out here, just had some jobs lined up for them, Microsoft and everything else. So when I came out here, it was like the middle of middle school, 7th to 8th grade. Didn't know nobody, didn't know nothing, the culture out here, none of
I was
that.
just about to say culture shock for you, for real, right?
Yeah, it's completely different out here, man. They, a lot of people talk about like Seattle freeze and all that when you get out here, and it's a real thing. If they don't know you, they don't want to know you. They don't. It takes effort to get to know people out here, and honestly, if it wasn't for like sports or anything else like that, I probably wouldn't have even messed with all that. But I came up from in Kamiakan, Kirkland area, all the way to Juanita, graduated 2013. I've been kind of all over the place since then. I lived in multiple spots, Moses Lake, Yakima. I was even back in on the East Coast for like a couple months, Originally, when I first started cutting hair, it was with Boogie trying to get me to do something with my life at that time. I didn't really have anything lined up. I had like multiple aspirations, like, I'm gonna be a cook, I'm gonna be a mechanic, blah blah blah, all over the place, Shortly after that, man, I kind of fell out after my cousin was gone, and then it's just a big blur from there, Like, if it wasn't for Chop It Up as a whole, like with Boogie and Aaron and all them pushing me to like do something, I don't know. I wouldn't be where I'm at now, you know? So, you know, shout outs to them.
Yeah, I was just about to say, shout out to Bug, shout out to A. They both been on the show, man, and I'm grateful for them two dudes, man, because they showed me a lot being that young and you know what I mean, elevating. So that's dope. How was that though? Like in its totality, like would you say, like living in South Carolina, like you said, and then coming here and then Yakima, you said?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's like,
Listen,
Dang.
it's the Palm
transition.
Springs of Washington.
yeah.
Yakima is nice.
Yakima Vegas.
Okay, if you say so.
No, I'm joking.
Yeah. I was not in the nice part, if that's what you're talking about.
No, I didn't.
There is a nice part of Yakima, there is. But I just wasn't in that.
Yeah. I don't know it at all.
Yeah. It's the middle of the desert, so you know they get the extreme weather on both sides and everything. But there's a lot of gangs out there, a lot
Yeah.
of violence, a lot of drugs. So it's not a cool place to be. But when you don't know nobody,
Yeah.
it's a cool place to be because
Right.
you know you see all this shit around you and you're like, well, shit, I don't want to be like that. So kind of push yourself to do better in that kind of situation, especially if you don't know anybody to get in trouble with, you know. So that's where I actually started going to barber school originally. Was in Yakima. But I was having my kid at the same time in the middle of it. So my baby mom, soon to be my wife, is moved from Yakima to Puyallup with her moms for like 6 months before my daughter was born.
Okay.
And I was left in Yakima by myself, literally. Still didn't know nobody. So I was just grinding like nonstop. Like I hardly spent any time at home. It was either the gym, school, or at work,
Okay.
one or the other.
What kind of work did you do out there?
Fast food.
Oh,
I had to
did-
do something.
Yeah.
I hadn't held down a job for a couple years at that point. You know, coming from homelessness and all that before that. So it was my first job I held down for like 2.5, 3 years while I was in school.
Okay.
Coming from nothing, you know, it's really,
I relate.
yeah, it's not easy to start. Luckily, I had a good group of supportive people from work, everything else that really wanted to see me succeed. You know, originally when I started school, I was cutting all their hairs. They were like, "Oh yeah, like you're gonna be a barber. Like we'll help you out. Like come over. You could cut my hair. Like just practice on them." You know, I still am in contact with all of them. Like you know, like that's the kind of bond that we made. Luckily, if I didn't have them either, you know, I probably would have just been cutting hair at school. And you know, at school you don't learn everything that you need to know.
So would you say that's the reason why like it became appealing, like for you, like you said you had other things that you wanted to do, but you was like, this is the one that I'm gravitated toward.
Yeah,
Like-
because you know, you don't really know if you love something until you do it. So it wasn't until I started cutting hair that I realized like, oh, this is something I can do. Like, you know, I had like a music thing going on back in the day, like where I wanted to be artistic with some kind of craft. So when I picked up the clippers and I started cutting hair, I kind of saw it like, oh, this is my canvas. Like I can do whatever I want with this. I can push myself to do whatever I want with it. You know, man,
So-
that kind of appealed to me.
So do you think it's more appealing than a 9 to 5?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it has its ups and it has its downs because, you know, everybody wants to be their own boss at the end of the day.
Not everyone knows how to.
Exactly. They don't have the discipline and everything else, you know, and that's something I had to teach myself too
Yeah.
over time. Making good habits, knowing how to motivate yourself because not everybody's going to do it for you.
Right.
Um,
I'm sure it helped though working
yeah.
elsewhere first to get like that work ethic
Structure.
and understand. Yeah, and the structure and understanding all of that.
Yeah.
Discipline for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, knowing that since I've been all over the place, even since I was a kid, you know, I was always kind of just that loner anyways. So it was easy to kind of push myself out of that once I finally got a grip on it. It's like I already been all over the place by myself, so really I got to know myself a lot better.
Right.
So, I mean,
So would you say this is like your last career choice? Like you're not going anywhere else? Like you're set in stone as far as a career choice?
Yeah, since I've set all my goals at this point, 5, 10 years down the road, like there's no moving from this spot right now for
that's good.
a long time. If I ever want to do something else in the future, it's gonna be well on in the future, you know. So, yeah.
So, going into the artistic side of things, what difficulties have you had with certain haircuts, or do you have any difficulties?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we all have trouble with something, right?
Yeah.
Mine was always the low drop fades and stuff.
Really?
You know, trying to fit in something into such a small area can be difficult at times, you know.
You
And
mean a low ball fade? Like,
Like a drop fade?
no, the low drop, yeah, but bald, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I relate when I first started. I relate to that.
Really?
When I first started.
Out of all the haircuts, really? Like
In the
not a fro shape up?
nah. Actually, the fro.
Come on.
I think that was because I
was
had
easy.
I had
Low
a
fade
fro
is the tough
when growing up, so you know, like I knew what my fro
So
was.
both
supposed to look
sides
like.
looked aligned. They were both equally aligned and shaped.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
If you see it on my Instagram, I actually think I still have the very first fro shape up I ever did.
Why don't you shout out your Instagram?
Yeah, at DaMellowFu, DA, Mellow, and then FU.
Yep. The link will be right there at the bottom.
But yeah, Afro shape ups were like one of my favorite cuts actually. 'Cause,
Yeah?
Yeah, I grew up with an afro and all that. Like I wasn't able to braid it too often because you knew how soft my
Yeah,
hair was.
yeah,
I
yeah.
used to braid my hair
Yeah.
and my mom's hair, so my hair was way too soft for all that. So I had to get it shaped up often. I was very picky about how even it was, you know. So that kind of translated to me being a barber as well.
Okay.
So yeah, the Afro shape ups were cool. It was literally just the drop fades and stuff that were like I had this little bit of space.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like when you're first starting out, you know, you like to make your guidelines a little bigger, or you know, because
Or very permanent.
yeah, exactly. You set in that bald line with the shaver all the way up, and then you're
Yes.
struggling just to get that line out. Yeah.
Yeah. I recommend a fade blade for that one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, but to touch on exactly what you said, it's like when you see it done and you see it done correctly, then you're like, dang. If you didn't watch it from start to finish, you're like, how do I attack it? You know what I mean? And then usually you know how the manifestation happens. It's like as soon as you see it, now somebody asks you like, oh yo, I want that low ball fade. Like, oh man, I was just
Now you got to do it all the time.
And that's usually how it goes too when
It's
you're in the
happening.
shop. Like literally, it's the cuts that you're scared of that come in first.
Yeah.
I swear,
Yeah.
every single time.
I love like a ball fade, a low ball fade, any sort of
I
ball
love
fade.
them now.
Yeah.
In fact, most of my clients on especially days like today, Sundays, they come
Yeah.
in and get that same cut
Yeah.
every single time. Like
How about children? You like children's cuts?
it depends on the child, really. I mean,
Doing low ball fade on a child?
I don't.
No, it's way more challenging.
Yeah, it definitely
Yeah.
is. You know, of course, they move around more. They, yeah, they're fidgety.
They don't have patience.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, when I first started cutting hair, obviously I'm not going to deny any cut. I'm going to go in as
Yeah.
far as I can go. But yeah, those were the most challenging days. Can't lie. I hated it, especially in the morning. Like the first cut of the day, you get a kid comes in crying because they just woke up and they're
Yeah.
all cranky, and the parents are just trying to force this kid to get a haircut, and you're just like,
I relate. For sure.
Yeah.
I relate.
Parents, please do your barber and do your kid a service, okay? And do not come in 2 minutes before waking up your kids.
That's one. And for two, if they've never been cut before, you should probably try to cut their hair at your house
Yeah.
first. Because if they won't sit still for you, what makes you think they're going to sit still for somebody they don't know?
Right. And
Just let
please
you know.
And
don't
don't-
bribe.
Right, and don't try to get your kid to get like a super perfect ball fade at 2 years old. It's like,
Yeah,
It's not gonna happen.
with the hard part on the side and the comb. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's doing so
yeah,
much.
don't try to make it too complicated.
yeah,
Like,
it's not gonna happen.
Some simple.
I want a bald mohawk with the
Or at least let your let your kid know. Let your kid know they're coming in for a haircut. Don't just wake them up 2 minutes beforehand. I mean,
Oh yeah, that's the worst. When
Yeah.
you try to tell the kid like, "Oh, we're just going somewhere else," and then they end up at the barber shop. Oh no.
imagine you waking up somewhere else. You wouldn't like it.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible.
I'm not saying it's bad parenting. It's just be mindful.
Yeah.
That's all.
Enhancements. How you feel about enhancements?
I don't like them. That's my preference. It looks good when some people do it. Other times, I'm just like, you just kind of spray painting that hair. Like, a lot of the time, it's to cover up mistakes, especially, and I think I just saw that the most because in school, like, all these barbers are trying to learn how to use enhancements. I see their natural haircuts before they put the enhancements on. I
Oh.
see these people come back, and I'm just like,
And now they expect it all the time.
yeah, and it sucks for them because some of those hairlines don't come back.
Oh,
Yeah, because it's mostly older people too.
yeah.
Because it's an affordable haircut at a school, and most of the time the instructors are supposed to be watching,
Yeah.
but that's not always the case. So like a mistake can happen like in a flash. Like there's no stopping just a big like, oh my bad.
Yeah.
Like an instructor's not going to be able to stop that.
How about the man units?
The man units?
Yeah, like those lace fronts.
Yeah, I actually had a client ask me about that. He wanted to do a man unit. I was like, I've seen it done, and my old instructor, I asked him about it, and he was like, yeah, bro, like if you want to come in, I'll teach you and everything
Yeah.
else. And I was just like, like the whole process and everything is kind of taxing. It's a lot of money to do something like that.
But you can charge a lot.
That's true. The guy even said like he'll pay whatever, but the man unit alone is like $400 or $500.
Yeah.
So
Jeez.
But listen, it's not like a throwaway. You can wash it and save it and redo it.
yeah, they last for a long time.
Yeah, they
last
do.
for a really long time.
Mika, you're not going to get the man unit like
It's
dress.
not that I'm against it. No offense to the people that need this service or that, like,
Prefer the same.
I can't provide you. For one, that's the first thing. But the second thing is, I didn't sign up for this. That's not what I signed up for.
I mean,
If you come in with the man unit on, would you cut him though?
No.
because he wouldn't know how to.
Yeah, I know.
Would you would?
It's challenging. I mean, I've cut men with men units on, and
You have?
it's a little challenging, a little bit.
Yeah. You have to have a little bit of creativity and like know different techniques.
Most of the
Okay.
time, their hair is not the same texture as
Right,
the hair
right.
on top, so you're blending
it's a-
two different
Yeah,
textures.
it's
of hair.
it's a tougher blend.
Mm-hmm.
You can get around it though, but I mean, I didn't sign up for it either. But I mean, it is part of the barber game. Some people want that type of service. It just depends on who's willing to provide that for them.
Yeah, and shout outs to all you guys that do that. I appreciate you. We appreciate your services. But I'm not doing it.
You know what I didn't sign up for?
What's
I
that?
didn't sign up for,
Dreadlocks.
no, I didn't sign up for guys that come in with struggling hairline and expect a perfect hairline.
Yeah, you come in with the Shrek hairline, but you want the Denzel Washington.
Yeah, like I didn't sign up for that.
And you see, that's where the enhancements come into play, and that's why I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that to you, man. To each his own.
So how do you feel about pushing people's hairlines back a little bit to compensate for their imperfection?
That's really up to them and what their preference is. If it's up to me, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
That's just.
But that's good barbering, right? Kind of like.
I mean,
if you have
at the
to,
end of
like,
the day,
use your
it's
judgment.
yeah,
right?
it's your
They're
job.
paying
It's your
you for it.
job not to mess them up. But I mean, if it's also their.
I'm with him. I'm with him on that. I like to give them the opportunity to say what they want. I don't make this,
Yeah. 'cause-
Judgment call.
Yeah, I don't make the judgment call. I
Yeah.
ask them first and see what they say, or try to have a conversation with them about it.
Yeah, have to explain it to them. They don't know barber terms all the time and everything else. Usually I go for pictures, like you've taught me over time. So I've showed them like hairlines where it's like, the V or whatever and
yeah.
stuff like that. And I'm just like, here's what I can do. Or you can go this way. It's
Yeah.
really up to you.
Give them the
Because, at the end of the day, if the client's happy, they're happy. But
That's great.
I'm gonna struggle looking at it if I just do something and they're not happy with it.
Let's go back for a second. You said you started school in Yakima,
Yeah,
and then you went.
I transferred to Tacoma.
And so was those did you have like a certain amount of hours that was transferable for you?
Yeah. They transferred 400 of my hours, even though I was at 650.
In Yakima, and then you came over to what you?
To BJ's Beauty and Barber
Okay.
in Tacoma.
And what school was it in Yakima?
It's called Elite Academy. It was over by the Popeyes or whatever. I forget the street. It was an old lady that owned it, named Betty. She'd been in the industry for like over 20 years or something like that. Owned multiple schools. Great lady. She was a good cosmetologist and barber. She'd been there for a really long time. She had a instructor that was like above her that was owning all these schools or something, but he died. So she took over or something, and then, yeah, she was a really good lady. She really helped me out, especially when COVID hit, because that's why I transferred to Tacoma. At that time, I was in the middle of school, and then COVID hit. School shut down, everything's all up in flames, like,
Yep.
So they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this online thing. I'm like, online? Like, how's that gonna work? Like, how am I gonna cut somebody's hair online?
Right.
Like,
Right.
it didn't make any sense. So they're just like, no, just like get in your book and do it online, and we'll like record the hours. So it's like, well, there's only a certain amount of hours you can get for studying the book, like there's different types of hours that you get for like cleaning, cutting hair, and studying and all this and that. So after I completed those hours in the book, it was like, what else am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
So I was just stuck. And at this time, my daughter was still being born. So she was born in the middle of COVID.
Man.
So when that happened, I was like, well, I can't stay here in Yakima and not do nothing. I got to at least go be with my daughter. I got to be with my family, So when I transferred over to Tacoma, I lost like 250 hours, like I was saying, and I hated that.
Yeah.
It was just so
Discouraging?
Yeah, deflating just to like get set back another 250. Like,
But it's dope that you was able to at least make the transfer. So for those of you in that area, 509, there's certain hours. If you go to certain schools, it's transferable.
I thought that schools, they would transfer all of them hours because it is still within the state.
I mean, I've seen ones where they accepted certain amount of hours from certain states,
Yeah.
like, and it wasn't the max, like.
Yeah.
the way they explained it to me was they needed a certain amount of hours to teach them what they thought was the curriculum that we needed to graduate. Otherwise, it affects their test scores and stuff like that. So they want to make sure that they have enough hours to work with you. Otherwise, they're...
Or get more money.
And money. I was just about to say, it's about bread. It's about bread.
Yeah, it's about money.
But it's cool. It's cool though. Like
yeah.
That's a good thing. You finished school and you transferred from over there. So that's why I kind of wanted to tap on that real quick. I think it's important for people to understand that not everybody has the same road. But
like a direct road.
yeah, like you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, as long as you finish, there's a lot of barbers out there that don't finish school.
Yes.
And they get discouraged because of something like that or anything like that. Like, we don't talk about that enough. You know what I mean?
And that is impressive that you had enough
Grit.
will to want to finish. Going from Yakima to Tacoma, that's not an easy travel. That's like easy, like over 2-hour drive,
Yeah.
So, yeah, good for you.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah.
Especially in the midst of all the moving and everything else too. So it was a lot.
Yeah.
Two more from me. I got. Where do you think Barber is gonna take you? Like, now that you've arrived, I feel like you've arrived, bro. You're a 5-star barber. You're starting to establish your clientele. You're doing your thing right now. So from here, it's like, then you start getting into your like, your veteran and into your like, into your bag of like, say like, yo, I'm in the trade. I'm starting to tell other people to get into the trade. It's starting to like inspire other people. Where do you see yourself like going? What kind of goals you got? Like, do you want to?
My 5-year goal when I started was to move further down south and open a shop down there.
Okay.
But right now, I'm in the midst of obviously building my clientele, getting better, remembering to stay humble throughout the whole thing and keep learning from everybody that comes in here, like it's something that you can learn from somebody. Like It doesn't matter what it is, even if you butt heads. But that was my 5-year goal. The other goal was to get a house in like 10 years.
Okay.
Less if it's possible. But I wanted to keep it realistic. You know, it's because a lot of time people set goals and then they're like unrealistic. They don't complete them, then they get discouraged.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm trying to keep it realistic as most as possible. You know, right now we're in the
I relate
midst,
to that.
Yeah, right now I'm in the midst of helping my girl build herself up, though.
Oh, good.
That way we can look at each other as equals when all this stuff starts happening. So while I'm building here at the shop, she's at school too. You know, and she pushes me to do things. I push her to do things. You know, and that's how it should be. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot that I probably would have gave up on a long time ago if it wasn't for stuff like that. Especially not knowing a lot of people, going from place to place. But yeah, those were like the main goals. After I make that vision board, though, there's like, obviously I wanted to get like a Supra and like all this other stuff. That was like, yeah, that's just to celebrate at the end of the day. But
That's fire. That's fire.
Describe a good shop atmosphere.
A good shop atmosphere. All right. I would have to say, like, obviously it's not going to be bumping gangster music all the time. It's not going to be, you know, just quiet either.
Yeah.
You know, there's got to be good conversation.
What's a vibe killer? What's a vibe killer for a barbershop with a good atmosphere?
Confrontations amongst clients, confrontations amongst other barbers. You know, when people are like, nigga this, nigga that, and, you know, you got clients and kids sitting in the chairs and
Older people.
yeah. And, you know, most of the time, it's even people like my age, they just don't want to hear that shit.
Right.
Like, they don't want to sit there and listen to somebody talk about, like, some kind of gang shit or about how they're at the bar last night and got into a fight or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
It's not,
Positive.
yeah,
It's not good customer etiquette.
yeah,
Yeah.
facts.
Basically, read your room. Read the room.
Yeah, exactly. And some people struggle with that, you know, and that's why there just has to be rules in place for just to prevent that anyways, but, you know, it's not always...
A little more structure.
Yeah, it's not always easy to control. There's a lot of people with a lot of egos.
Yeah.
It's just how it goes.
Right.
It's a fine line.
Yeah.
It's a fine line.
And being in the barber game, especially where people have been their own boss or see themselves as their own boss, you know, they don't take constructive criticism very well.
Right.
That's like the best way to say it, I guess.
I think a lot of times when you got people that come into business with being their own boss, they haven't had that experience with being a boss, so they kind of get the big head and not understand the dynamics of
Business.
things, business etiquette, relationships, communication, and stuff like that. I think that can be a key problem.
Yeah. Even just the smile on the face, man.
That
Saying
makes a
hello
difference,
to
yeah.
everybody that walks through that door.
Regardless if they're your customer or not. Fact.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a fact.
You got to comfort them and bring them inside. Like, you can't just ignore them. Otherwise, you know, they don't feel welcome.
Right. Well, I think it's just, again, if you have past work experience, if you are in customer service previously, it's just something embedded in you. But also you want to be treated, you want to treat others the way you want to be treated.
Yeah, exactly. Because even I worked fast food and customer service, but I'll tell you right now, I did not take bullshit.
Well, fast food is a little bit different.
Yeah. Like,
Some people don't care about that though. They're just like, yo, man, I'm here for me. I don't care.
Yeah,
about,
yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, it's just like,
But
No, you can't be like that when you're in a service business.
yeah,
The customer-client relationship is a little more close and personal. So you got to have a little more humility when you're dealing with people.
Exactly.
And including your surroundings, too, as well. So,
but it comes with age. And so that's why I say for him being 27. So like at 27, some people still not
They don't
there.
get it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they
they don't
still
get it.
don't get it. You know what I mean? So That's dope that you have
Yeah.
that mindset like that. Yeah, I know at 27 there was some questionable things that
Yes,
I
it
would
were.
never-
Yes, Mika, they were. Yes, Mika. Yes, Mika.
You came with
Okay, by the way, I need you guys to like, comment, subscribe, okay? And hit that bell. Thank you.
That's a fact. We're gonna lighten up the show just a little bit because it's been a little like, a little intense. I feel so. First one I got for you is anime or comics.
Anime. For sure.
Anime off top.
Yeah.
And you want to give a little, like you said, you grew up on anime. So that is what it is.
Yeah, I grew up on it. All my friends did too. I was reading it as a kid. It's just something. It's just something that I found is really stress relieving for me in a way. I
Yep.
mean, it's lighthearted, like cartoons and stuff. I'm not watching like a reality show all the time. That's like, stress on the brain sometimes.
Yeah.
Like when they leave you on those cliffhangers and everything else, whatever, it's fine. But I like the idea of like the drawings and
Yeah.
everything else, thinking that an artist was putting all their effort into the story, the drawing, the everything.
Yeah.
It's cool to think about.
Yeah.
Especially on some of them when they get super complicated and they really kind of blow your mind. You don't expect it,
Yeah, you put me on to a couple of them joints too. So like, I ain't watched them, but you put me on to like a few of them. Just knowing.
And it's really getting popular these days. It's kind of weird actually because I remember back in like middle school and high school, it was like weird to watch anime, but now it's becoming more and more popular. We got an anime store, like an anime
Yeah,
ice
right
cream
next to
place
us.
right next to
right
us
next
now.
to us.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah. It's a fact.
Like it's just in a lot of the animes from when I was a kid are finishing up now. Like it took time to obviously draw all those, and like they're starting to finish now. And because they're finishing, those are the best parts. They have to end it with a bang. So now that's why I think it's getting popular.
Yeah.
But people don't want to put that effort in at the beginning and really get to understand it. It takes a little time. It's like reading a book almost.
Yep.
Like it's slow at first, but it picks up.
Yeah. I'm gonna tap in on that too. I know you like to do a little artistic stuff. You told me you be spitting. I heard you spit before. My man's got bars, by the way.
you got bars?
He got bars.
Yeah.
We might get to that at the end. That might be the little bonus. We might get to that.
Oh, add the pressure, Mika. Why not?
We might get to that. It depends on what's going on. But I know this also about you that you listen to audiobooks. You actually have put on, come in early in the morning, like 9:30. You'll put on an audiobook. Do you listen to instrumentals or audiobooks in the car? Which one do you prefer?
It's a bounce between both.
Bounce between both.
I listen to a lot of instrumentals when I'm like really trying to think about something, when I would need to focus and like make my like a goal list or something like that, a budget, whatever it is, if you're just bumping like music with words in it all the time, you're not really focusing sometimes. You're just thinking like of the song
Yeah.
rather than what you need to be thinking of. But the audiobooks is more to train my mind in a way, to hear different dialogue.
Yeah.
Not just barber talk all day, talking with my clients. It ends up being kind of the same conversations most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
You do have those clients that you can talk to about other stuff, obviously.
And pick up every time they come in. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
And that's how I build the clientele in the first place. But, when you listen to podcasts or even the audiobooks, the instrumentals, all that, it gives you a different state of mind to do different things. Like if I didn't start listening to audiobooks, then I wouldn't think the way that I would think when I come in here.
Fact.
I'd probably just be shut off or whatever in the morning because that's just how I am. Wake up and I'm just groggy. I'm like, okay, let's get this over with.
Yeah.
So the audiobooks kind of set the tone for you, for your day, starting out your day.
Yeah, that's why I like to listen to them in the morning. I'll sometimes tap in after work, but after work it's more of that, going home, it was a good day. Get to celebrate a little.
Oh, good. You listen to Ice Cube. That's good to know.
We're gonna keep it on music. Actually, we're gonna keep it on music. None of this and that. Dreamville or TDE. I know you
What
fuck
are
with them
those?
both.
What is that?
Dreamville is J. Cole and his conglomerate.
Okay.
And then TDE is Kendrick Lamar and his conglomerate.
okay.
Or what is,
His group.
we already know TDE is about to, go their separate ways. But if you had to choose between the two,
I was just about to say because they're going their separate
yeah,
ways.
yeah, yeah. They're going, but, in their primes. TDE, Dreamville, which one?
Dang. Probably Dreamville. It's
Dreamville?
just more of a selection there, more
Yep.
people, more music to listen to.
Smino, JID.
Yeah, you got JID,
Yeah.
you got Boss, you got got everything there. Ari Lennox, J. Cole, you got way too many heads.
Yeah, facts.
Whereas you got only 4 people on T5.
I mean, you got SZA, you got some
7.
Black Lip Pastor, you
Yeah,
got some,
yeah,
you got
yeah.
some hitters. J Rock, part of low key, right? He affiliate, So,
I'm just thinking like the old TDE back before all that. But yeah, my favorite rapper isn't TDE though, so that's why it was hard to decide.
oh, okay.
Isaiah
Schoolboy,
Rashad.
Oh,
is still
Isaiah, yeah. Iowa, yeah.
my favorite.
I know we're speaking like, these are just some artists. Rest in peace to both of these young brothers right here. But I know you like both of them, and I just don't know which one you like more. And I don't think you're gonna choose, but I'm still ask you: Triple X or Juice WRLD, man?
Triple X for sure.
Triple X? Oh wow, I didn't think it was gonna be that close.
Oh, like to.
I wasn't like a huge Juice WRLD fan when he came out. He got better, in my opinion, over time. He got more real with himself. But all that music about like
The depression and stuff.
no, the girls and it broke my heart and blah blah blah. Like bro, like
Okay.
that's cool and all. Like yeah, you can make a song about that, but like when that's your entire platform,
Yeah.
it's just kind of like you're crying. Like
Yeah.
y'all had a heart.
He's just a dope freestyler to me. That's
That's why I liked him
that's
the
what-
most because
yeah.
when his freestyle started coming out, like this guy was coming up with like metaphors on the spot, all this like crazy stuff. It's like, did you plan this? Like, no, you can tell he's just off the top, and that's really the craziest part to me. He could literally be like Lil Wayne, just making all of his music with freestyles. Like he doesn't have to even write a verse.
That's dope. So movies or shows?
Shows.
Shows. Okay. Yeah.
Because
Oh, the
anime is.
Okay.
I mean, but
I should-
anime does have movies too,
Okay.
so it's just shows. for
Okay.
sure.
Got you. And then I know you like both of them. Basketball or football? Which one would you prefer, though? Hoop or you like
For me to play or to
seeing the
watch?
pick spin? I think to watch because I feel like for you to play. I mean, are you playing often? You hoop
Yeah. I hope-
every now and then. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't so much anymore because I don't have a gym membership with the basketball court.
Yep.
But yeah, if it was to play, I'd play basketball. If it was to watch, I'd watch football.
Oh, you watch? Okay, prefer to watch. Okay, that's what's up.
Although I'm not really liking watching
Seahawks?
sports at all lately, so
I feel like it'd be different if we had a team here in Seattle, but we don't. So, you know what I mean?
yeah,
We need to bring that back.
the Supersonics. Yeah.
Yeah, and last one I got for you is Crocs or Yeezys. I know I see you wear Crocs way more, but I've also seen you wear Yeezys. I think you think they're comfortable, but I just don't know which one you like more. If you had to choose.
Probably still Yeezys.
But I still wear Yeezys. Okay.
Yeezys are super comfortable, man. Like they actually are one of the most comfortable shoes I ever bought. They're just more expensive than I'd like.
Yeah, that's
Obviously.
facts.
Crocs are like the second. You
Yeah.
know? They're still hella comfortable, and you can rock them anywhere, like at work or whatever, without having to stunt really.
I ain't gonna hold you, man. He's the first one I ever seen with the fur on the inside. The dude came through.
You've
Question.
never seen the fur on the end?
That he was the first person I ever seen with that
I
in
have
person.
a question. How do you? I mean, I have Crocs. I would never wear them to work because of the holes and the hair getting in between your toes.
The fur. That's what
The fur collects the hair.
Mess.
Yeah, on top.
You have to get with the times, okay?
Whatever.
I would
man.
never.
You guys
do it.
just love
I would,
hair
I would, I would,
splinters.
I would never
The
do
hair
it.
doesn't get
I would never
inside,
do it either.
still on
Don't
the
get me
outside.
wrong. I would never do it either. But these guys do it.
It's like wearing flip flops to work.
These guys do
I'm
it.
just saying because of hair splinters. I avoid hair splinters at all costs, and sometimes they just get in places I don't care them to be in.
Look, the 350, the Yeezy. Everybody knows if you wear those to work, you're getting hair in your feet
Yeah.
off top.
Yeah.
And I've wore them several times to work.
Yeah, I've never
Yeah.
gotten hair splinters in my Crocs. No,
Yeah, but I've never.
but I also never wore the ones without the fur. So
Okay.
that's why. The fur does collect inside the holes on top of the fur, but it never goes into the
Do you
shoe.
vacuum it out?
Vacuum it? No, I don't need to.
That's
I only wear them to work because it's something I can trash. I don't need to stunt. Whereas if I wear my Yeezys and I fuck them up at work, I'm like,
Yeah, I know. $400.
like if I'm gonna go out,
garbage.
obviously I'm not gonna wear my Crocs.
Yeah.
It's just work. So
Yeah, I feel it.
I have a question. Are you familiar with the Barber Game Challenge?
no.
So the challenge that we have is where you save money throughout the whole year. You have 52 weeks to save $5,000, where basically it's $100 a week.
Okay.
Do you think you could do that?
Yeah, for
Oh.
sure.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, it's not that hard to put aside $100 a week. I try to think of it like they say that you should only like give yourself a third of the money that you make as a barber,
right.
Because 1/3 is like taxes, and
Yeah.
then the other third is savings.
Yeah.
So if I think about it every week, if I'm just keeping a third of it, yeah, it's well over $100.
So I challenge you to try it.
Okay.
The year just started, so go ahead.
Oh, yeah, we did it. We did do that joint last year.
Yeah. It could be very easy to forget about it and be like, oh, maybe it's just $100 next week,
Yeah.
you know. So, but it's a good discipline, and at the end of the day, it's for you. It's not for nobody else. It's for you to have a
On the
little-
side.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
So 52 weeks.
Yeah, 52 weeks in a year,
Or 50.
or
Oh,
50.
You get two off, and it'd be 100 every single week, except for 2. You get 2-week vacation.
So do you have any plans on investing to a shop?
Yeah.
You do?
In the future, right now I'm focused on getting my girl out of school.
Right.
When that happens, we'll be able to save a lot more because right now, being the main provider for my family while she's in school, it's kind of hard to do all that.
Do you want to open up a Chop It Up, or are you trying to open up your own?
I wanted to open a Chop It Up, yeah, in the future.
That's fire.
Okay.
That's fire.
Good for you.
And I wanted to just move it down south, further, closer to me. You know, that's why I was talking about Puyallup. Puyallup, I thought would be a good area
Yeah, it'd be a good area.
because I don't want to be in Tacoma. I don't want to be in Tacoma now. I'm just there because
Yeah.
it's affordable and everything. But yeah, I lived in Puyallup too, over by the fairgrounds, like right across the street for a little bit.
Yeah, that spot was dope over there. You had
Yeah,
it's like-
it was my mother-in-law's place when I first moved over here because that's where my girl was at. That area, when I lived there, was a really nice area. You know, the neighbors were nice. It's mostly just older people that really just kind of mind their business, you know, but there is the mall right up the street in South Hill.
Oh, okay.
So-
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, it gets really busy up there because that's the closest mall to that one is in Tacoma, the Tacoma Mall. Other than that, like, everything is on that strip. So that area up there is really, really popping all the time. I used to work at the Arby's up there, and that Arby's, you would never think anybody really even goes to Arby's.
Right. I don't know where I don't know how they generate money.
But
bro, for
that job stressed me out, like, because of how busy it was.
Good Arby's.
Yeah.
Yeah, Arby's is pretty busy.
I never
don't
knew
see
that
it.
until I worked.
I
there.
don't
You know,
see
it. You would
I
think so.
never went to Arby's before I worked.
we have the meat.
But being up there, that street alone, it's like I-5 during traffic time. It's crazy. Like, just trying to get down the hill, you're going to take like 20, 30 minutes.
So have you been looking for like any like prospect buildings or?
I mean, I look around. I'm mostly by the mall. You know, there's actually a bunch of shut down like places over there. Especially, there's one literally right across the street from Arby's, right by the Cosmoprof.
Okay. Do you know what they're going for rent?
No, I don't.
Yeah, you should do some research on that too.
Right. No, that'd be
Yeah,
fire.
good
That'd be
idea.
fire
Yeah,
because you're already
'cause
there.
You want to be steps ahead of the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
know.
Just to know what.
Just
to
because you
expect.
can't afford it now or you're not leading in that direction now doesn't mean you can't still do the research. So when that time comes, you can be already up to speed.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, because, yeah, you're right. I haven't thought about it because I just not up to that
Yeah.
that place yet.
Yeah.
So I did some. I did a little bit of scouring on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Did you know that 3,500 churches have closed down in the year 2019? Did you know this?
Why?
So this is pre-COVID, right?
Yeah, but why?
Just, millennials, zennials, whatever you want to
People
call
are
them.
actually losing.
They're
losing their
they just
interest in
don't
faith.
really rock with
Church, especially churches now.
So then, after post-COVID, this is doubled.
The closure of
Huh?
churches?
Yeah,
Oh.
post-COVID this is doubled because you can't even. You know what I mean? People are scared to even be inside close quarters like
I
that
don't
with people.
I don't think
They-
COVID is necessarily.
But I'm saying, like, obviously something like that, like more businesses have closed after.
Of
You know what I'm
course.
saying? After COVID than before, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so if we look at the statistics, now we look at the statistics after, we're gonna see those. Well, my man right here, bro, you definitely dressed for the part. I've seen you here on Sundays, and I'm like, bro, my man's attire is completely different from Sundays than any other day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you'll see me come in dressed like
I'm like, this nigga right here jumped off the runway or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, that joint's
Yeah.
fire. But you be going to church, man. Like, unpack that, man. How was it? Like, how was it for you? Like, to, you know what I mean?
So funny part is, even though all those churches closed when COVID was going on, that's when I started going to church.
Right.
And it was mostly just because of how the world was acting at that time, like stuff was just going crazy. Everybody's getting more violent. Like everybody's getting poorer, richer's getting richer. Everybody's just literally going crazy, And at that time, I was in Yakima and I went to this place called Champion Center, literally right down the street. It was easy walking distance at the time. So, I just thought, I'll just go try it out.
Yep.
Little did I know when I got there, like, this is cool. I can be here every Sunday, it's a good use of my time. And I felt like the messages that I was getting there was a lot better than what I was getting on the TV or from the news or from really
Your phone,
anything else
all
going
that.
on.
Yeah, that's fact.
Sometimes people get so absorbed in what's going on, they don't remember how to be positive in a way, because when all that stuff is going on, you're thinking like, man, what's gonna happen next? Like, what bullshit's gonna happen next?
Right.
They have nothing to look forward to. Now every Sunday I can look forward to going to church and actually hearing something positive,
Yep.
and dressing the part was something I just chose to do.
No.
I
I wasn't trying to give you.
I
that.
talked to my girl about it first, and I was just like, back when I went to church with my grandma when I was younger, she used to force us to go, every Sunday you had to dress up, you had to go. So if you didn't go, don't ask to go anywhere, don't ask to do nothing, you're going to be at home, because if you had the time to go to church or the time to go anywhere else, then you should have gone to church.
Yeah.
So it was more kind of beat into me when I was younger,
Yeah,
I guess. So,
yeah.
it was, I felt like it's good on her spirit
Yeah.
to
That's
go,
dope.
to go now.
That's dope.
And the dressing up thing is more her,
Okay.
Rest in peace. But
Yeah.
yeah, she passed away last year.
Yep. Sorry to hear that,
Rest in
man.
peace,
Condolences. Nah, that's dope. My grandma had me going to Catholic church. Me and Mess talk about this all the time.
The good Catholic guilt.
3 Kings Day just passed not
Yep.
so long ago. But
Ash Wednesday coming up.
Lent.
Lent.
Oh my God. But no, that's it's admirable, man. It is because at your age, I think we start to come into our own as men and as women, and it's just difficult to like keep these what for some people would be perceived as good habits or just habits or disciplines. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that's when you'll be like, oh yeah, I'm breaking away from the nest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At 27, you're like, I'm good. I'm
Right.
not doing this anymore. I don't gotta do this. Not to live in this household.
I did that at 16, so.
Yeah, so that's dope.
Yeah.
though.
In a way, no. I'm not a huge religious person at
Okay.
all. I do believe in God, obviously,
Yep.
but my relationship with God is my own.
Yep.
It's not anybody else's, and it's not really followed by any certain book or any certain religion or anything like that. I just know that a relationship with God is needed. That's it.
Right. That's dope, man. That's dope. It's very admirable, like I said. So
Very fitting for a Sunday.
yeah. I know. Anything else you want? You actually want to give us a hot 16 or what? Do we have to let the listeners go on the Instagram or what?
We got a beatbox.
Yeah, you're gonna be.
You got
Hey,
it,
you need a tight beat?
Mika?
You need a tight beat
DJ?
or what?
Oh man.
What's the tight beat you need? I'm going on YouTube.
You could do currency.
Currency type beat. Is this a currency type beat, right? Can you hear it?
Yeah, I get it. Hit me on the spot like that. All right. Yeah. Since a youngin' when I was just hanging on that block, I knew I had to get up off it before they had me locked, and I was off the top with everything. The free, the style, I was just trying to be everything. But in the meanwhile, I was just trying to see everything. But now I see the heavenly gates, just trying to know my fate, but really know that this plate ain't full. What am I gonna get? Is it gonna get paid in full? Man, when I go to school, I always try to teach myself the rules, but then I didn't abide it, so I was like, fool, but I made it, I gotta get it, I don't fake it, I know I'm with it, so now, yeah.
Yo, that's fire right there. That's fire. That is gas. No, that's heat though. No, for real, because like for the listeners at home, this ain't,
Scripted.
this ain't scripted, ain't none of that. This is right on the spot. I did ask him, but he was like, nah. And there it is.
Yeah, could you tell us a little bit about your backstory, how you transitioned to be the man that you are now, and some of the pitfalls that you had getting to this comfortable place you are?
Okay, yeah. When I was younger, I want to say when I was 16, that was the first time where I really kind of dealt with any kind of like addiction. First, it was just weed at first, My parents had like that stickler mind, any drug is a bad drug. Weed is like terrible. Like
The gateway.
basically seen it like, gateway. Like you're out here wilding out. You're doing the craziest shit in the world. Like you need to get the fuck out. So 16, that was like my first experience of homelessness, and they're both Marines, so it was just kind of that Marine household.
No, they wasn't playing around.
No,
Oh.
they were not. They were not.
I relate to that
They're
too, by
not.
the way.
They weren't going to enable me. They weren't going to do nothing for me while I was in that state of mind.
Yeah.
And so over time, I just kind of rebelled. I kept on that path for the longest time. But if anybody like really dealt with addiction and the habits that they have, that's just the start of it. It gets worse later on. By the time I was like 21, full-blown alcoholic at that time, smoking weed like a daily ritual. That's when I started to experiment with obviously like psychedelics, all this other stuff, so on and so forth. But because of the homelessness and everything else, you're not around the most positive role models, the most positive people at all.
The most structure.
Yeah. So it eventually escalated, I used to do literally Percocets every single fucking day. It was bad. Like, I didn't have any aspiration to be anything. I didn't want to even live day to day, If it wasn't for God and the way that I approached that type of living, I wouldn't have even made it here.
Yeah, you wouldn't be here.
It was to the point, like, I went to rehab, inpatients, outpatients, all that, as anybody should in that kind of situation. It's not easy to do it all on your own. Everybody thinks like, oh yeah, you can do this on your own. It's your choice. Like, you made the choice to do all this. And granted, yeah, maybe at first it's your choice, but once you're caught in that type of lifestyle and you want to get out of it, it's not always the easiest thing to do.
No, it's not. It's not particularly an overnight situation. And there's some truth in that. You got to want it for yourself.
Exactly.
And you could do it by yourself, but it's cool to have a support system to kind of help you.
Yeah. But no, I really shouldn't even be here, to be completely honest with you. Like, it was to the point where I was doing 10 to 20 pills a day, and it was to the point I couldn't even function without it. If I didn't have it, I was sweating, dead on the floor, like couldn't do nothing.
Yeah.
And shout out to Sundown M Ranch out in Yakima. That was the rehab that I went to that really put me on some kind of footing. You know, they introduced me to a lot of people that could point me in the right direction, put me in a lot of therapy sessions, counseling, all this stuff that really like projected me. But like you were saying, it's something that you gotta want for yourself.
You gotta want it.
So if I didn't want it, then it wasn't gonna work out, you know? And I admit, even after that rehab sesh, like, there were some pitfalls, you know, even more, you know?
Yeah, you gotta change your whole circle.
That's why I was in Yakima for so long, because it was like I didn't want to be around nobody that I knew.
Right.
And I tried to change my entire environment. You know, I even deleted my Facebook and everything on there. You know, there wasn't nothing there. None of my old friends, none of my old pictures, none of that. I don't want to see none of that because I'm trying to do something else.
Right.
Yeah.
But after that, like, it's just hard time after hard time. You know, you try to learn how to deal with
You
stress.
got to learn to live all over again.
Exactly. You know,
Yeah, and happiness, like, you know, celebratory things,
Yeah,
right?
you gotta
Like,
find different happiness.
you gotta be able to celebrate yourself and your little accomplishments. You know, like a lot of people, I was told before, it's like you shouldn't expect anybody to celebrate something that you already should have done.
yeah, and you know, we just had an episode. We were talking about that.
That's kind of
We
strange.
literally talked about that in our last episode, where, you know, you have this person who's been battling something that, to some people, you look at it like, oh yeah, that's hardship, but for some people, it's like you shouldn't even been put in that situation
you
to
shouldn't
begin
even
with.
did it
right?
anyway.
You know what I mean? So now you're participating in society now, and you want a pat on the back. But for us, we've been doing this since we was 18, 17. You know, for me right now, that's 18 years. You know what I mean? I'm 36 now.
Yeah.
You know, longer technically. I started at 16, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get no pats on the back for paying my bills and going to work, and you know what I mean. And then, but knowing what you've come from, it's almost like it's an expectation, right? Like, oh, like, where's my roses? Like, yeah, you know what I mean? But you just showed up to the party. We've been here partying for mad long. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like that would be even more debilitating to like not get your
Get a
praise,
praise,
get a
yeah.
praise.
Yeah.
Like, so it's dope that you're able to talk about it, for one, on our platform, and for two, living that. Like, you're living proof of it. You know what I'm saying? Every day. My mom was in a similar situation. I used to be in a similar situation. I related to a lot of the things that you talked about. So that's dope. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, to me, like, this is like a second life in a way. You know, like, all of this is extra because I already was convinced I should have died back then, you know? So all of this shit that I'm doing now is extra.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful for it every day because,
It could be worse, man.
yeah, exactly. And, you know, dealing with the day-to-day stresses that I deal with now, at least I'm not stressing about drugs. At least I'm
Yeah.
not stressing about how I'm going to get high next, you know? Like, how am I going to get my next fix?
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to stress about that shit anymore. Instead, it's real life shit like bills and,
Yeah.
you know, and that feels good.
Yeah.
You know, so even when I deal with hardships and all that, you know, it's actually more motivation. And, you know, I'm starting to realize, like, that's actually how normal people probably live, you know?
Yeah.
But when I was younger and off that shit, it's just
You're
not
just
the
going
same.
through a lot mentally, that's all. You know, going through a lot mentally that allowed you to be probably depressed and looking for an out.
Yeah.
So now you're at a different place now. You're on the incline.
For real. Any last things, man? Is there anything you wanted to mention on this platform while you got the listeners listening to you right now? You already done
You already
freestyle
got
for
the
us.
IG handle, yeah.
Yeah, you done freestyle for us, man. You done
Where's
perform.
your DJ page at, man?
Oh,
DJ?
you can hit the SoundCloud.
No, he don't DJ. You DJ too? I was about to say, you DJ too? Hey, bro.
I thought you said he DJ.
No, DJ.
His nickname is
Nickname,
DJ.
Nickname is
Zach,
DJ.
man, it's kind of act like y'all shit associated too. DJ,
Zach.
DJ,
Yeah,
like
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, DJ, aka David Joseph. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Um,
David Joseph. Yeah.
yeah. The SoundCloud is Da Mellow Fool as well. DA Mellow FU.
Yeah.
But that's
You
all
got
I
some
got
lyrics you
right
be
now.
spitting on there?
Yeah, yeah. It's music from years ago, but you know, I think the latest song I dropped was like 2 years ago.
Okay.
That's still fire though.
Yeah, I just haven't been in the studio or anything. You know, I just.
We gonna make that happen. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. It's gonna be lit.
I know. I've been talking to Meek about doing that for a while now.
Yeah. We could. You already know. You know what I mean? We don't even need to talk about it right now. He dropped all the SoundCloud, right?
Yeah, the SoundCloud. I dropped the SoundCloud. The DA Mellow FU. But for a song, pretty much all that stuff on there is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have dropped it if I didn't like it. So, I mean, you could kind of fuck with anything.
Do others like it?
From what I know, I mean, I haven't met a person that said, "Oh, this is trash."
Trash,
yet.
yeah.
Right,
So,
right.
You know.
Where's your
but,
numbers at? How's your numbers doing on there?
Like thousands. Not
Okay.
like.
That's cool.
Not like.
It's kind of tough.
That's
to
good,
get
though.
thousands.
It's like
not-
4 digits. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not.
that's kind
it's not,
of
That's
kinda
good.
tough.
Though. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
That's good.
I had a lot more standing back in the day because we had like a group.
Right.
I used to rap with Boogie all the time, like literally all the time. That was.
That's funny. My son, my baby boy's nickname is Boogie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was me and Squapo too, actually.
Him too?
Yeah.
Oh,
We
didn't
all
know
had
that.
platforms. We all used to rap together. It was a group named Fulo.
Man, y'all used to work together, man. This
I didn't know.
all connected.
I didn't know.
Yeah. So there's a lot of music on there for sure.
That's dope.
No matter how much you feel like you got to perfect it with getting it mastered, when you go to the big boys, they're gonna put you back in the studio and redo it anyway.
Yeah.
So it'll be good for you just to get it out, put it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, I should look more into Spotify and stuff because I'm only on SoundCloud right now.
Yeah,
Like,
they
it's
got a
always
couple
been that
different
way.
platforms.
Yeah.
I got them. I get them to you after.
Yep.
Anything else, man? You want any last words? You good?
Yeah, nah, I'm good.
You good?
Yeah.
Hey, man, thank you for coming on here, man. I appreciate you, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I thank y'all for having me here. man.
Not yet, for sure.
Shout
man.
out to the Barber.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I hope you come back too, bro. I don't want it to be one of those things that one and done. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Come back on here. Now we got the backstory. You know what I'm saying? I want to, you know what I mean? Maybe you just update us on what's going on. Like you said, we talking about, oh, we back in the studio now. We doing this. We doing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Like updates.
yeah, update us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that'd be dope, man.
Hell yeah.
I got the Supra, you know, things like that.
Yeah. Then,
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Yep. All of
Barber
that.
Game Podcast.
Yep.
yeah.
All right, y'all. Choose.
Bye.
That concludes this week's episode. Tune in next week and check us out at thebarbergame.com.